Right. Yes. To Melissa's point in the chat, it is so good to see so many colleagues and nonprofit partners join us here today. Thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Olivia Ross. I'm a community engagement partner here at Citizens. We're thrilled to have everyone here today to talk about a program that we're really proud of at Citizens, and that's our community service sabbatical program. So just some quick housekeeping items up front. We are recording the session today. We'll make the replay available for reference and for anybody who was unable to join today's call. It'll be circulated along with the post-event survey after this call. All of our attendees, except those who are speaking, have been muted upon entry, but we do want to hear from you throughout the session and toward the end of the hour today. So please feel free to use the chat. Make sure that you can hear me. Let us know what organization you are joining from. We definitely want to hear from you. As I mentioned, we are here today to talk primarily about our community service sabbatical program, but we first wanted to acknowledge that we understand that the current environment is challenging and it's unpredictable. We have some time set aside at the end of this call for questions about what we'll talk about, but also would welcome each of the attendees from our nonprofit partners to share what's on their mind given the tumultuous times that you're all facing as nonprofit leaders. So just wanted to plant that seed at the start. I'm sure there'll be no shortage of things to share, but we certainly want to hear what's on your mind also. So today on our community service sabbatical program, we will hear from Dan McPherson and Melissa Truslow, both community engagement partners on some of our valuable colleague engagement initiatives here at Citizens. We'll also hear from a special nonprofit guest, a sabbatical host from 2024. And as mentioned, we'll leave some time for Q&A and for discussion. So we like to start with sort of getting grounded in our community mission. Between customers and colleagues, Citizens has a presence in all 50 states, and we know that each of these places have their own challenges, and that those challenges require bold and innovative solutions. That's why we're committed to leveraging our resources, including our colleagues, like you'll hear about today, to equip organizations with the tools that they need to help the communities that they serve thrive. And as such, that's why we've developed Citizens Help You, this virtual conversation series that convenes our network of nonprofits from across the country, as you can see in the chat, to connect with one another and with valuable tools and resources. We'll be hosting a minimum of one of these sessions a month with the goal of providing expert insights and tangible takeaways to help our partners navigate challenges effectively and make the most of our partnership. Today's is the second session in the series. We're excited to share a standout way that Citizens and our colleagues can help serve organizations to deepen our relationship and further our collective impact. So with that, I am going to turn it right over to Dan to take it away and dive on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olivia, and thank you all for joining today. As Olivia mentioned, my name is Dan McPherson. I'm a community engagement partner here at Citizens. I'm based in Johnson, Rhode Island. Part of my role here is to support a number of different things. We all wear many hats here at Citizens, but my role is to support some of the national nonprofit partnerships that we have. So great to see some of our fellow partners here on the line. Also the communications and storytelling that we do around our philanthropic efforts, as well as our colleague engagement activities. So that, of course, is what leads all of you here today, which is our Citizens Community Service Sabbatical program. So this is a very exciting program that we launched, last year, and we had some great success in year one. And we're really looking for a chance to build upon that in year two. So we're excited to have so many of you on the line so we can tell you all about it, all the great opportunities that exist within this program. So again, this is to take a step back, as we go on to the next slide here, into why we wanted to bring this program to fruition here. So at Citizens, as many of you know, we're very active in the community, and we care about supporting our nonprofit partners in a variety of different ways. So really, when we were thinking about opportunities to deepen our impact with our community partners, Sabbatical jumped right to the forefront for us. It's a way that we can really embody that Citizens Credo that we have here, which I'm sure some of you have heard about, with our shared commitment to our communities and our colleagues. And it's really a way for us to advance their well-being in personal and professional growth. So that's something that really stood out to us. And we really did a lot of research about sabbaticals across the country. We reviewed a lot of articles. We spoke with a lot of other organizations that have instituted sabbatical programs, and have seen really tremendous benefits from it, from improving work-life balance, enhancing creativity, strengthening skills and knowledge, and really bringing that fresh perspective to nonprofit partners, but also to our colleagues as well, that they can bring back to citizens. And some research that we did with the Society for Human Resource Management, they posted a survey that said sabbaticals lead to a decline in stress and an increase in psychological resources and overall well-being. And a lot of those positive changes that people have experienced from sabbatical programs, they've remained long after that experience has ended. So that's something that we really, we saw that and said, this really sounds almost too good to be true in a sense. And so we really wanted to see how we could bring this program together to support our partners. And, Olivia shared that slide right at the beginning of today's session. And there's some really key things that we know that a lot of nonprofit partners are facing, in terms of the challenges with what's going on in the world right now. And part of that is, addressing skills gaps, vacancies and programmatic positions that you all have, as well as budget constraints. We know that's certainly at the forefront of all your minds. So we know that there's a lot going on, and this is another way that we can look to reach out and utilize the great skills that our colleagues have, and find that as a way to give back and really, again, deepen our impact with our respective communities. So excited to advance this program and to talk a little bit more about what we did in year one. And dive into year two here. So in terms of a program overview, what we're looking to do for this year is we'll have 3 or more colleagues that will be a part of this year's sabbatical program. So as many of you know, Citizens colleagues span the country. We have over 17,000 colleagues all across the country. Some that are in our branches, some that are in our headquarters, offices, things like that. But they really bring a wide variety of skills to the table. And so what we want to do is we want to deploy at least 3 colleagues this year with our nonprofit partners. And so again, with that being said, all of you are on the line because you're our very valuable partners here that are focused on financial empowerment and workforce development. So those are the 2 main areas that we want to really drive home for our colleagues and have a chance for them to deepen their impact by supporting our great partners. So we're currently going through the application review process with our colleagues, and our goal is to select the colleagues first. Once those 3 or more colleagues are selected, then we'll go through the nonprofit matching and vetting process. So what we want to emphasize too with this program is that these colleagues that we're considering for the program are the top performers here at Citizens. So you need to meet a certain criteria in order to be eligible for this opportunity. I know we said over 17,000 colleagues that we have here. Less than 10% qualify for this opportunity, and that's based off of their commitment to community service, their performance here, their longevity here with Citizens. So there's a variety of factors that go into their eligibility. So that these are colleagues that we really feel are strong and can support our nonprofit partners in a variety of ways. So as I mentioned, we're going through the application process, and we're doing some vetting with all of our colleagues to find the colleagues that we really want to give this unique opportunity to really deepen their impact in their respective communities. So in terms of timing for the sabbatical, each colleague, we handle it on a case-by-case basis, but each colleague spends between 4 and 6 weeks with a nonprofit partner. We found that, through our first year of the program, it was really a great time frame to, map out the scope of what a project could look like and see that, all the way to completion. So we feel like that was a strong timetable for our colleagues, and we're looking to continue with that time frame again for this year. And most importantly, with the sabbatical, it is a paid leave of absence for our colleagues. So they continue to receive compensation from Citizens while they are on the sabbatical, and it's deemed as a leave of absence. So it's a way for us to really give them a chance to disconnect from their day-to-day here at Citizens and really immerse themselves in the culture with their respective nonprofit partners, because we don't want to have any distractions. We want them to have a chance to really, see all the great work that's being done in their local communities. So, and again, you'll see here on the right-hand side, there's just so many different benefits that we see for our colleagues for this program, from skill building, professional development, enhancing creativity, and last but not least, making a positive and lasting impact in their respective communities. So excited to build upon that in year two. But again, I'll take a step back just to look at our colleagues that we placed in 2024 with 3 different nonprofit partners. So here you see Sil, Ruby, and Joe, our superstars that were part of year 1 with this program. All of them have such a unique skill set that they brought to the table. And as you can see here, they've been at Citizens for a long time. The shortest being Sylvan, who's now in year 7 here at Citizens. But really unique group that has a variety of different roles that they bring to the table, from client and customer relations to business development, financial management, IT systems, technology, etc. So we really felt like these 3, with their skill sets and their volunteer experience, would be a great fit for our nonprofit partners. And that is what brings us to our next slide, where we can reference some of those nonprofit partners that they ended up being paired at. So as you can see here, just to give you a scope of the types of projects that they were able to be a part of and support through their sabbatical. Sil was matched with the YMCA of Greater Boston. And while he was there, he performed a SWOT analysis for one of their corporate engagement events called the YGB Games. So this was a way for him to use his background in partnership management to understand the needs of the YMCA of Greater Boston and see how he could support them to grow this unique and fun fundraising opportunity that they had through the YMCA. Ruby was matched with Futures and Options in New York City, and she really has a very strong financial background in commercial banking. So she was able to develop a system of tracking costs across the organization's career development programs. And so there was really a match made in heaven there. And she even had a chance to evaluate some of the curriculum that Futures and Options was doing for young students and see how she could support that in a unique way. So we love that aspect of what Ruby brought to the table. And last but not least, we had Joe Procaccini. And so he spent his time at the Genesis Center here in Rhode Island. And while he was there, he developed a strategic plan to help chart the organization's phase of growth for the next several years. So 3 very unique projects that they were tasked with, and were really, really overwhelmed with the positive results that we saw through their sabbaticals. I'll say for some of them, like I mentioned with Ruby, it was kind of par for the course for the type of work that she was doing at Citizens. But for colleagues like Sil and Joe, they were able to really build upon some skills that they certainly had in their disposal, but not necessarily something they were doing in their day-to-day. So it was a way for them to really advance those skills to support their local community. So that's a snapshot on our nonprofit partners. And with this program, we're very big on data here at Citizens. So we want to make sure that we're capturing all this great feedback from our partners and from our colleagues. So before and after each of the sabbatical periods, we had our colleagues and their respective managers fill out surveys, because we wanted to really get a pulse for what their experience is like, what they hope to gain, what we can do to support that, and just really continue to grow the program in the years to come. So part of the unique aspect of this program with, not only are the colleagues supporting a nonprofit project, but they're also helping to coordinate a volunteer opportunity for fellow colleagues. So with that, our 3 sabbatical colleagues, they engage more than 30 fellow colleagues here at Citizens in different volunteer projects. So it was really a way for them to build that understanding internally at Citizens of the type of work that they were supporting and the needs in their local communities. So it was fun to see them get involved there. And after their experiences, all of our colleagues and their managers said that, participating in the program increased their interest in volunteerism overall. So that was certainly a strong positive outcome from their feedback there. All three of the sabbatical colleagues, what we really love is the fact that they've all, since the sabbatical has ended, they've all made a return visit to their nonprofit partner. So it's a way that they really loved their experience that they had there, and they wanted to continue to give back. So, we even had a colleague, I think one, maybe two, that were invited to join nonprofit boards and various committees with their respective organizations. So that really speaks to the value of what they brought to the table at those organizations, and we love that they've wanted to stay involved even after their sabbatical period has ended. So, also as part of this post-sabbatical survey, we had 100% of our colleagues and managers agree that the work that they accomplished will make a real difference. So they really felt as part of their takeaway that I did something meaningful for my community, and I was able to do something that will help them continue to grow in the foreseeable future. So that was really great to see as well. I know I mentioned earlier some of the program benefits for our colleagues, and some of the things that they highlighted as part of their major takeaways, different things that they learned. What are some things that they gained as part of this experience? All of our colleagues acknowledge a number of different things, including finishing an impactful project, learning new skills, improving their personal well-being, improving their understanding of their communities, which we thought was really important, and also positively impacting the lives of others. So really, again, we're blown away by this feedback that we got from our colleagues, and I'm really glad to see that it was such a positive first wave of an experience for them going out on our sabbatical. So that's the feedback from the colleagues, but what I really want to touch upon here is the nonprofit experience. So that's why you're all here today. You're all part of our great nonprofit partners here at Citizens. So in addition to the colleague and manager feedback, we had our nonprofits that were selected fill out pre-sabbatical surveys, and they also filled out impact reports afterwards to really give some better pulse of what the overall experience was like. And again, I'm not just trying to sugarcoat things. It really was a positive experience for all of our colleagues. So in total, between the three that were placed over the past year, they provided over 250 hours of hands-on skills-based volunteer support. And again, that doesn't include the additional volunteer hours that other colleagues have done or they've done, in addition to after their sabbatical ended, which I know is in excess of over 100 additional hours. But the 4 to 6 week period of what they did was over 250 collective hours. So, and overall, it was a 97%, overall experience rating, which was tremendous. And what I really loved is 100% of the nonprofits agree or strongly agree that the work accomplished will make a real difference to that nonprofit organization. So really not only was it the colleagues, saying that they feel like it would make a difference, having the nonprofits confirm that, it is really reassuring for us here at Citizens. So in terms of the project status, 100% of the nonprofits agreed or strongly agreed that the project that the colleague was assigned was in fact completed by the end of that sabbatical period. And 100% also agree or strongly agree that the colleague was able to address the challenge that the nonprofit was hoping they could address during their time with that organization. And within the next 12 months, all of our nonprofits said that they will be able to utilize this work that the colleagues did within their organization. So that's, of course, very reassuring for us here too. And we had weekly conversations with our nonprofit partners. So not only did we have them fill out these impact reports, but we had weekly check-ins. How are things going? What's the status of the project? What are things we can do on our end to help make this really great experience for you all? And as you can see on the right-hand side, here's a couple testimonials that we were able to pull from those weekly check-ins with our partners, and they really, spoke about how for example, with Joe, was able to help jumpstart and update a strategic plan that will help them, long into the future. What Ruby brought to the table with her, the foundational work around financial review and the model that she helped to develop there. Silvog at the YMCA, they said they need him for another 2 months to really, bring that fresh perspective to their organization. So that really helps to bring it full circle for us, to see that, to hear those stories, to hear firsthand that, this isn't just great for our colleagues, it really is making a lasting impact with our nonprofit partners. So really, again, very blown away by the experience that our nonprofits had within year one of this program. And again, we want to make sure that we're continuing to build upon that in year two. But don't just take it from me. I wanted to give you a chance to hear from our nonprofit partners. So we have on the line here is Chris Ackley, who is the VP of Strategy and Partnerships at the Genesis Center. So he got to know Joe Procaccini very closely during his time serving the sabbatical. So Chris, welcome. We would love to have you come off mute, and we'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience with this program and what Joe was able to bring to the table.
Sure. Thanks, Dan. Thanks everybody from Citizens, and thanks to the other orgs that are here. Yeah, I'm just here to share our experience with the Citizen Sabbatical program, and I was very involved with it. Actually, Joe sat right next to me for his entire time that he was here at Genesis Center, although he was sort of like flying around the building a lot of the time and doing interviews with almost every single staff and or volunteer that we have in the building to try to really lay the groundwork for the strategic plan that we are in the process of finalizing, thanks to Joe's work.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that. And certainly when we went to visit, it looked like Joe really became the de facto mayor in some ways of the Genesis Center. And he, really within that strategic plan, he spoke about being sort of a third party that could come in and be kind of unbiased and be able to get some intel, from the fellow colleagues, from the board members, and to get a sense of what, Genesis Center can do to really build out the strategic plan for the future. So would you talk a little bit about, the project that he was tasked with and how, maybe down the line Genesis will be able to utilize his efforts?
Yes. So Genesis Center was actually overdue for a strategic plan. We had started the planning process in 2019, and then you can imagine what happened to that plan, and when 2020 came around, and it just was no longer really a priority or anything that we could put our time and energy towards. So we were kind of sitting on that for a long time, and knew we had to do it, but couldn't really marshal the resources, staff capacity to really focus on it in the way that we needed to. So the Citizen Sabbatical opportunity came about at a really good time for us, where one, we just had somebody that could be dedicated to that project. But then also, like you said, Dan, Joe came in as sort of a disinterested party, and people felt a lot. We imagine that people felt more comfortable openly speaking with Joe about their experience, about priorities for the organization, than they would have with members of senior leadership, where there was different power dynamics, or people might just not open up and say everything that they really want to say. So Joe really dove in and got to know everybody and did a lot of data gathering here at Genesis Center. He really learned a lot about strategic planning. I'll admit it wasn't his forte coming into this, but Joe is a really smart and motivated guy. So he took some examples and then applied everything that was going on at Genesis Center to a strategic plan.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so I know you mentioned some of the takeaways being, of course, completing the strategic plan. Were there other takeaways for either you personally or for, the organization as a whole, for what Joe was able to bring to the table in helping to piece together the strategic plan?
So I'll just say that Joe just became a huge advocate for Genesis Center. We gained a champion through this program. You alluded to the service projects before, but Joe brought in colleagues to do some grounds projects, some painting projects at Genesis Center. Once again, also just expanding the reach of the program with Citizens colleagues. Joe has gone on to fundraise for Genesis Center and bring in, significant dollars for the organization at a time when we can use them. And Joe continues to be involved and keeping in touch with Genesis Center. We have a lot of citizens involvement here. We're happy about that. We have citizens colleagues in right now doing mock interviews for banking positions, and we do have citizens board representation. Although maybe if there's change in the future, Joe could find his way onto there.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing, Chris. And for the fellow nonprofits that are on the line here, do you have any sort of piece of advice for them if they may be considering applying for this program, or any other sort of advice from your experience with it?
Yeah, I think the more structure and the more direction you can give the volunteer, the better. I think that we kind of built the plane as it was taken off a little bit with Joe. So we could have given him more direction, and I think we would have gotten more out of it. I think also, to be honest, I don't think we fully took advantage of Joe's skill sets. His experience in operations and with automation. We could have probably done a separate project where we really unleashed those skills at Genesis Center. But he was very happy to do this strategic plan and was a fast learner.
That's great, Chris. Thank you so much for being a part of this call and helping to share those insights. We really appreciate it, and we're thankful for your partnership and getting, as you see Shannon there. She shared some really nice, kind words about Joe and his overall experience with the Genesis Center. So we're very happy with how things turned out, and we're glad to see that Joe is still an active contributor and supporter there at Genesis Center. So thank you, Chris. We appreciate it.
Sure, I'll put my email in the chat, and if anybody wants to reach out to me, they're more than welcome to do that.
Awesome. That sounds great. Perfect. So in terms of sort of next steps for this program, we wanted to let this group know that we're currently applications are open for nonprofit partners that are interested in applying for this opportunity. So what we're going to be doing this year is we're going to review it on sort of a rolling basis. It's sort of an open application window that we have right now, where we would love to get a sense of what your needs are with your respective organizations. We know that there are different projects that you may be looking to address, so we would love to get a sense for what that looks like and how we could potentially support it with a sabbatical colleague. So I'll end up dropping in the chat here a link to the application that we have for this year, which, as I mentioned, is live, and we'd be happy to answer any sort of questions about it. Again, I'm the one who helps to manage the program here at Citizens. We have certainly a major group of people that are involved in all aspects of it, but I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have about this opportunity. But again, we really want to get a sense of the different needs that your organizations have and how we could look to support your organization. And even if it's not for the sabbatical, we're very active here at Citizens, as you heard Chris mentioning, colleagues there right now doing mock interviews, and we want to really stay active with our nonprofit partners because our colleagues are eager to get involved from a skills-based volunteer opportunity aspect. So if it's not sabbatical, we want to keep those conversations going and see how we can engage some of our other colleagues with your respective organizations. So I think that's a pretty good tee up for my fellow colleague, my deskmate, Melissa Truslow, who's on the line here, for her to really jump in on the skills-based volunteering aspect here at Citizens.
Great. Thanks, Dan, and thanks, Olivia. And thanks, Chris, for joining and giving that first-person account of the wonderful sabbatical experience that you had. For those of you who don't know me, although I see a lot of colleague and nonprofit partners that I've worked with on the phone, and I'm looking forward to working with some others this summer through our skills-based volunteering program. I'm Melissa Truslow, community engagement partner on the team with Dan and Olivia, and focused on really connecting our nonprofits with our colleagues and the unique skills that they have to support your organizations, working with you to identify those challenges and opportunities that we can help support. And as you see, I am a cheerleader for the sabbatical with my ever-present background here. And I agree wholeheartedly with Dan and all the points that he made, having worked closely with the volunteers for the sabbatical program who are still engaged to this day. It's just a wonderful deepening of the relationship. But I wanted to offer, as part of our program offering, skills-based volunteering, that you can take advantage of whether you are taking advantage of the sabbatical or not. This is something that we have taken in-house over the past several years, and we now offer this all the time. It's an ongoing program, although we do have 2 signature days twice a year where we gather colleagues, and as I said, we match them up to your organizational challenges and opportunities. For those who are not familiar with skills-based volunteering, the way I like to explain it to both colleagues and nonprofits is a lot of people are familiar with hands-on volunteering. So using a food bank as an example, our colleagues may help you sort food, pack food, distribute food. That would be hands-on and direct client service. For skills-based, they're using their professional skills, whether it's their day job skill or a skill they have outside of their job, to really work on a project that will help you build your organizational capacity. These range from finance projects to HR projects, reviewing a handbook, helping develop a succession plan, review of your digital communications, websites, whatever you have, whatever you can dream of, we can likely match and help. So as I said, we do this on an ongoing basis with our 2 days of service, which are 6-hour virtual days, but we also have projects outside the day of service where we will match colleagues with you, and you can do what is accomplished in our day of service on your own schedule over the course of a few weeks. These are very engaging and ongoing opportunities. Sometimes you'll participate in a day of service and you will get some insights from our colleagues that you want to explore further, and we can make those connections with team members for you to do more ongoing projects. We also offer clinics in a box, which are a shorter version of the day of service. It might be an hour or 2 on a specific topic. And then we have pitch competitions. We have right now 1 each year in August with our early career development colleagues. As I think, you've gathered from our mission and our interactions that citizens helping citizens is embedded in our DNA. And, what better way to get our early career colleagues involved with our nonprofits and have them leverage their skills. They're the future leaders. So we really want to get that ingrained early. But as I said, we have this offering at all levels of the company, all geographies, and all business lines or functions. You can see here the group hard at work, working on a challenge. And I just wanted to share, we don't have Josh on the line, I don't think, but one of our champions in action who recently participated in a virtual day of service. You can read it for yourself, but I think that we were truly impressed to hear from a nonprofit that this was one of the best corporate volunteer experiences that they've ever had. And this one was with our finance group. So I encourage any of you, if we have not had this discussion already, to reach out to me and, we can talk about some potential projects and the best format to meet your needs. Thank you again for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. And thanks, Dan, for sharing in depth on our Citizens Community Service Sabbatical program. As I mentioned, we would love to hear from all of our partners on the line. So if you have any questions on Sabbatical or on our skills-based programming, please let us know. Everyone was muted upon entry, but if you want to come off mute to ask a question, you can raise your hand and I can give you that capability. Or, of course, use the chat to enter in any questions that you may have regarding topics that were covered today. In addition to that, as I mentioned, we kind of also want to put out a question to each of you as well. We understand that currently the environment is proving for a difficult time. So we want to know what's weighing on your mind and the types of challenges that are kind of keeping you up at night or what you're facing. We're hoping to use this insight to shape topics for future sessions that might help you tackle some of these hardships that you're facing. As I mentioned, we're hosting at least one session a month, but we're constantly seeking to add more on an ongoing basis. We want to make sure that the information is tailored for exactly what each of you need and it's timely to what you're experiencing. So if there's anything that anybody would like to share, we certainly welcome that, and we welcome any questions on sabbatical or skills-based volunteerism. And like I said, if there are questions and anybody would like to come off mute to ask, just raise your hand and we can give you that permission, or feel free to use the chat. And I think that I've seen, yeah, there's a couple emails and links being shared in the chat. So if it's a question that you'd rather take offline, you can certainly reach out to anybody who's provided their contact information today. While we wait to see if any questions come up or if any hands get raised, I will just reiterate that, oh, looks like there's a question. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat on my phone. Dan, for the sabbatical, the people who are assigned is for full-time or part-time, or is it based on the organization's needs?
That's a great question, Karen. Thank you for bringing that up. And I apologize, I didn't mention it earlier, but all the eligible colleagues are full-time employees here at Citizens. And within the sabbatical experience, when they're matched with a nonprofit partner, they're being matched for that nonprofit specific work model. So if you and your nonprofit, if everybody's working remotely every day, that's something that our colleagues could do. If we're asking them to be in, 3 to 5 days a week, that's something that we would want our colleagues to do as well. So they're meeting that same model that you have there. And again, really immersing themselves in that experience with your organization. But great question. And they would be expected to do a 40-hour or so work week with your organization.
Thanks, Dan, and thank you for that question. All right, while we wait to see if anybody else has any other thoughts, I'll just take the time to highlight our next session, right now currently scheduled for June 17th, so just a bit over a month from now. It'll showcase another exciting offering that we have here at Citizens that can help the populations that you all serve prepare for secondary education. So Citizens has a partnership with a program called College Raptor that does exactly that, provides tools and resources that help people realize that there are options for financing and pursuing secondary and higher education. And as I mentioned, we do anticipate adding more sessions in the meantime based on the feedback that we hope to receive today through either the chat or the post-event survey that we send. So please do keep an eye out for those as well. You will receive materials from today, the deck that was shared, the session recording, and that post-event survey in an email after this, as well as a registration form for our future sessions. So if there are no further thoughts, questions, or comments, we'll let everybody go a little bit early, but are truly so appreciative of each of you taking the time to join the session today to learn a little bit more about this offering. We thank you so much for your partnership and for the work that you all do, and we hope to see you all on a future session. So thanks so much, and thanks again, Dan and Melissa.
Thank you all.